And I think I've met all of you before. Yeah, that's great. So as you know, I moved here about 3 years ago to Yuba City. And so next week, there's going to be a very important event here, as you all know, this Khalsa Youth Camp. And I think it could be the most important event because this is the teaching of the Sanghat's children, the youth, and what they're learning about Sikhi. And so this really is a very concern for me about what is being taught at this Khalsa Youth Camp. So if you look at, oh, let me give you one. This is the flyer that I hand out. If you look here on this side here, right here, it says what Gurujot Singh, who's going to be teaching this course next week. He's the creative director of SikhNet, and he's going to be teaching next week. And it says here what he said about the course in Indianapolis last week, what they taught there and what he says about it. So he says there, and I quote, he says, "We told stories of the Gurus, and we shared a lot of Yogi Ji's, meaning Yogi Bhajan, teachings which helped explain everything about the Sikh lifestyle." So first, I want to talk a little bit about that, okay? It's clear to me, after, as you probably know, I was with Yogi Bhajan's group for like 30 years, all right? I spent day and night with Yogi Bhajan, and so I know him quite well, and I know the teachings that he taught and about this Kundalini Yoga. Now, I want to preface by saying that when I was in Yogi Bhajan's group, we knew nothing about what real Sikhi was about. I'm being honest about it, you know. And Yogi Bhajan's agenda was more about teaching his tantric yoga and about teaching this type of yogic lifestyle rather than the Sikh lifestyle. Now, I discovered about 3 years ago this by Dr. Trilochan Singh's book. It's called Sikhism and Tantric Yoga. Now, do any of you know Dr. Trilochan Singh? He was here in the 1970s in Yuba City. He talks about it in his book. And he met with Didar Singh Bains. He stayed at his house, I think, back in the 1970s. So, Dr. Trilochan Singh, he wrote several books. One you may have heard about is the Turban and the Sword of the Sikhs. Have any of you seen this book?
I've seen it.
Yes, okay. So he also then wrote this book about Yogi Bhajan and his, as he calls, un-Sikh-like practices of this tantric yoga that Yogi Bhajan was teaching. And fortunately, I was able to find one of the very last copies of this book that Dr. Trilochan Singh wrote. This was the book before I had to take it apart in order to scan it. I put it on the internet. I don't know if any of you have seen it on the website.
I have seen a part of that.
Yeah,
just
right. Oh, you saw it on my website?
No, not the whole thing, but part of that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
so what I did is when I discovered this book, it was a real eye-opener for me, okay? That was about 2009 to 2010 when I discovered this book. And so I was so surprised, I guess you say. And like I said, it was a complete eye-opener for me because this book was completely hidden from us. When I was in Yogi Bhajan's group, Dr. Trilochan Singh spent several months with Yogi Bhajan in the 3HO group back in 1976 to 1977. And so he was very concerned about the same issue that we're talking about today, about how Sikh youth are being taught, what they're being taught. So he was so, thought it was so important, he wrote this book, all right, and he self-published it. Unfortunately, it didn't really get much, how do you call it, publicity, as we'll say, okay? Because back then they didn't have the internet, of course. So anyway, like I said, I discovered this book, I read it, and then I was so impressed by it that I scanned every page and I put it into a text editor and spent weeks putting it onto the internet. All right, and I put it into Word files. So then I was living in Espanola at the time, and I went to talk to some of the people that I thought were my friends in this Yogi Bhajan group. All right, most notably, I talked to this Kirpal Singh, who has a PhD, and he is now the leader of Yogi Bhajan's Sikh Dharma International, of their education department, a Sikh education department now. So he completely discounted the book. I mean, completely. He didn't even read it. He sent me an email a few hours after I had sent him a copy of the book as a PDF on the internet, and he said, don't listen to these intellectual Sikhs, all right? He said, he just completely discounted it, and told me not to go there. He said Yogi Bhajan was a complete saint, you know, all these things, you know, extolling Yogi Bhajan's virtues and things like this. And so I thought to myself, you know, this guy is supposed to be a person who is educated, who is supposed to be open to listening to other Sikhs and about real Sikh teachings, but it seems that they're not. So I started to think more and more like this is really like a cult around Yogi Bhajan, because I found then, after I started talking to more people, I started to really get frustrated, because they just sent me letters saying, you can't criticize Yogi Bhajan, you shouldn't criticize what he does or what he says, okay? And basically, I was completely marginalized in the community down there in Espanola. They completely shunned me after I started, you know, saying, well, what about these large tantric paintings that they have in the Espanola Gurdwara down there of Yogi Bhajan? I don't know if have you ever seen those?
No. Never heard of that. No.
You've heard of them, okay? Well, I have pictures of them. If we have time, I can show you. But it's a huge, gigantic painting that sits in the Dabar of the city Guru Granth Sahib of Yogi Bhajan, and he's got this big, you know, like black magic thing going on with the tantric, you know, things like that. It's just disgusting. It's completely against Sikh values. And then they've got this idol of this golden idol of Baba Siri Pritam that sits at the entrance of the Gurdwara. Have any of you seen that or heard about it? Okay. Again, I have pictures of it here, and it's right next to the SikhNet offices. I've been talking about this for the last 2 or 3 years, and trying to get the word out about how these. And I want to preface by saying too that I have nothing against the 3HO people personally. I have no enmity against them. I consider them to be my Sikh brothers and sisters. And I only want them to change and to be part of the larger Sikh mainstream community, okay, rather than be marginalized as what is happening. That's exactly what's happening. Is the mainstream Sikhs are putting them aside and kind of saying, okay, you do your yoga stuff, and then we won't bother you, okay. But I have a real concern for them. I would like them to participate in mainstream Sikh activities and practices, and not go this route like the Namdaris, okay, or the Radhaswamis, okay, that have their own guru and this kind of thing. But that's the route they're going, okay. If they keep going the way they're going, that's what's going to happen, in my opinion, okay, and many other people's opinion. So I'm here out of concern, okay. I spend my own personal money. I put things on YouTube, and I have my own website and things like that, because I am so concerned about it, okay. And I come here on my own accord, just as a your brother and as a Sikh. I'm concerned about what they're teaching at these Sikh youth camps, okay. So getting back to what Gurujot Singh says, it was said about his last camp that he went to in Indianapolis. He says, everything according to Yogi Bhajan's lifestyle, okay. That is so telling about that. What they do at these camps is they talk about Yogi Bhajan's lifestyle, all right, and his Kundalini yoga and how it fits in. Now, if you read more of the quotes, they talk about why Sikhs wear a dastar, okay, and they give and why we don't cut our hair. They give all of these yogic, I call them woo-woo practices, you know, like about how, you know, there's energy that comes in through the hair and things like that, and that we wear this because it has acupressure points on the head, the dastar and things like that. This is complete rubbish according to Sikh traditions and according to what Guru Gobind Singh taught us. We wear a dastar because we want to be distinctive, and we want to do what the Guru told us to do, is to stand out and to wear this crown, all right? Not because of some yogic power that we're trying to gain from these practices like this, all right? So what I want to try to impress upon you today is that this Kundalini yoga is much more than what it seems, all right? I'm going to tell you, you observe when Gurujot comes here next week with his wife, they will look great, they dress in sarup, but they're doing it for the wrong reasons, okay? They have this in their mind that Yogi Bhajan has taught them why they wear these things. And you'll notice they wear all white a lot of times, okay? This is kind of this, Yogi Bhajan told us that white has all colors and it's good for your aura, okay, like this, okay? Now the Sikhs, of course, we don't believe in that kind of thing, okay? So they do like so many violations of the Sikh Gurdwara. It's hard for me to go over them all. I put 14 points on this paper. From the beginning, there are 14 points. I didn't actually write this. This was written by Amar Prakash Singh. I want to give him credit for that. He was in 3HO for a long time, and he left Yogi Bhajan's group because of these same reasons, that he saw a lot of these un-Sikh-like practices that were going on there in Yogi Bhajan's group. So he's been out of the group now for a number of years. He's a little bit more low-key than I am. I tend to be kind of more outgoing and try to talk to people about this thing. So I kind of borrow from different people like Amar Prakash. But he's done a very good job of distilling all of these different points where Yogi Bhajan and the Sikh SikhNet and the people that run the Yogi Bhajan organizations, the violations that they do of the Sikh Gurdwara. And I think that, I don't know about you, but I follow the Sikh Gurdwara, and I try to as much as I can, the Sikh Gurdwara Maryada, because it's a distillation of a code of conduct that we as Sikhs should abide by. And I think it's a very good code. Okay, there may be a few little problems, but I think that overall it should generally be accepted by all people and all people that call themselves Sikhs. Particularly things that the Yogi Bhajan people do and practice are things like this idol worship of this Baba Siri Chand, which is completely against Sikh values and principles. Guru Gobind Singh told us many times, you know, don't worship these idols, don't get involved in these Hindu rituals like this. I have pictures again on my computer where I can show you that the Yogi Bhajan people every year, at least once a year, maybe twice a year, especially on Yogi Bhajan's birthday. I was there when he died in Espanola. Yogi Bhajan died at this meditation dome where he would have spent a lot of his time. And the Yogi Bhajan people treat this like a grave of Yogi Bhajan, and I have pictures that they prostrate themselves on the ground in front of this temple of Yogi Bhajan, and this idol of Baba Siri Chand. It's just it's unbelievable, and it's things that I think that most Sikhs, traditional Sikhs, are not aware of. I think especially like, for example, my wife, when she was growing up in Ludhiana, she told me, we just, thought that the Sikhs, the Yogi Bhajan Sikhs, were just like angels, that they were, so perfect, we saw them and they had the stars on and white, and they were just beautiful, okay, and we didn't think there were anything bad at all going on, but I'm telling you, there is a different, there's a hidden story there that's not being told, and I know it's difficult to accept, because we always like to think of the 3HO people as being, almost better than the Punjabi Sikhs. But I'll tell you, from my experience in my 30 years, there's a lot of stuff going on there that needs to change, okay? And again, I can go on and on about the violations of the Sikh Gurdwara that they do. They do astrology, they do numerology. It says in that list there, and I have pictures on their website, they sell Sikh names, okay? That they do is they use numerology that Yogi Bhajan invented. Numerology is like an astrological system. It picks your destiny and what name will be best for you in your destiny, okay? And so they have on the internet a box where they say different donation suggestions when you get this. And so you give them your birth date and then your current name, and then you have to check. I think $108 is the minimum that you can give for this Sikh name that they give you. Okay, and so it just goes on and on. And so again, I want to impress upon you that when Gurujot and his wife come here, ask them these tough questions. I'd recommend not have them teach Kundalini yoga, or tell them that that you would like them to just talk about Sikh, Prachar, about Gurbani, this kind of thing. Because